big aim after the Beatles was to do something different but successful. And that was difficult because all those years I'd been training Beatles style and I didn't want to just continue the same thing. So I had to kind of avoid anything that sounded too Beatley and kind of make a new style really, which was to become the Wings style. So by the time we did Band on the Run, I felt we'd got it. We'd really established something that wasn't like the Beatles at all. Around about that time, there was a lot of kind of songs like Desperados and Renegades, and I think a lot of people were kind of on the run. A lot of people who'd opted out of society around about those early 70s, you know. So out of that, I thought, yeah, band, musical band, band of brothers, put it together, made Band on the Run.
Band on the run. Band on the run. And the jailer man and Sailor Sam were searching everyone for the band on the run. Band on the run.
It was more of a kind of almost like a college band that we just said, do you want to go on the road? Yeah, let's do it. And we didn't really think too much about it. We just thought, hey, it's a little bunch of friends going and making some music, which, you know, when we started the Beatles, that's kind of all it was. It was just, we made it up as we went along and we got better together. In Linda's case, she hadn't really played much keyboard, so the early things were very simple. But I'd show her and she was a quick learner, and I'd give her a vocal part and she'd take it, maybe massage it a bit, you know, and just, but basically she'd do my arrangement. Linda was there while I'd be writing things, so if I get stuck, I'd ask her for a suggestion and stuff. So we ended up co-writing them. We didn't actually sit down with pencil and paper and write them bit for bit. And it was good fun, you know, to have someone to bounce off. But she wasn't a writer like John was, so it wasn't that kind of collaboration, obviously. She learned a lot and eventually became a really good player, and as you say, an integral part of the band. By the time we were at Band on the Run, she was singing great and very distinctively too. So I remember years later when I worked with Michael Jackson, he said, who sang those harmonies? I said, well, it's me and Linda basically, and Denny, so they're great. And he loved Linda singing, you know, so she gained more confidence as she went on. It was a little bit of a fashion in those days to kind of record somewhere else. So I knew EMI had a lot of studios. So I said to the guy, I said, could you give me a list? It was very exciting. It was like Rio de Janeiro, China was a possibility. And then I saw they had one in Lagos. So I thought, oh, Lagos, man, you know, Africa. I loved African music and beats. And I thought, well, if we go to Lagos, we'll pick up a sort of rhythmic African feel. I think I overplayed the idea, because when we actually got there, I pretty much made the record I wanted to make. But that's what it was. I just looked at the list and thought, wow, Africa, Lagos, adventure, let's do it.
The rain comes falling from the sky.
Right the night before we were due to fly the next morning, a couple of the guys rang me up and just said, oh, we're not coming, you know. Drummer Denny and Henry, the guitar player, said, we're not coming, you know. I never quite worked out why, whether they just thought Africa's a bit far, a bit crazy. But it was wild times, but that was why I went to Lagos. It just sounded exotic.
Okay, chaps.
It's funny out there, Africa, you know, they make great music, but they're not as technologically savvy as we were. We expected it to be a proper EMI studio. But in fact, we said, okay, where are the vocal booths? And the guys looked at me blank. So we had to say, okay, well, here's what it is. You take bits of wood and you make a big box, and we drew it out and gave him the dimensions. But we got it done, you know, and I think the kind of vibe of it being a little bit homemade, certainly the studio was homemade, that kind of found its way into our attitude. If you have the ability to do a remastering, it's great to do, but there's always going to be some people say, well, yeah, but why are you doing it again, you know? And it's one argument to say, yeah, but we've got much better techniques now. But I personally like to give people value for money. You know, I know a lot of people like me when I was a kid, you save up all your hard-earned pennies and you buy this record and you don't want to be disappointed. So I know that. We were always very big on that in the Beatles. So yeah, on the new stuff, we've got some interesting additions that weren't on the old releases.
Well, I just can't get enough of that sweet stuff. Now, little lady gets behind.
What Linda did originally was made a selection of her Polaroids. She took way more than appear on the poster. Now what we've done is we said, well, let's look at the full selection. We've kept the poster. That's a kind of artifact. I think people want that as it was. But what we've done is we found other photos that were in that same series that we didn't use. And those are really interesting. Of course, with a little bit of history, they get more special. There's a film that we took in Lagos that shows us just knocking around with the local people, having a bit of fun, and it places us in that era. And that's unseen, no one's ever seen that film. And then the other nice bit of film we've got is we have the making of the cover with the photographer Clive Arrowsmith, which was at a place outside London called Osterley Park. And he put us up against this big wall, shone a big spotlight on us, you know, and arranged us all. But in the film, you see us arriving, you see us being given the uniforms and trying them on, goofing around. You know, you see people, some people who are no longer with us, unfortunately, but some people like Michael Parkinson, Britain's most famous chat show host. He's got a couple of young kids with him. I hate to think what age they are now. But there's a load of stuff there. We've discovered some really nice little surprises. So I'm looking forward to just rolling them out for the people.
Yeah,